Hello, hello, and welcome back to the channel. Laura and I are back to talk about episode 5 of Murderbot Rogue War Tracker Infinite. I had to double check multiple times to make sure that was the actual name of the episode because I felt
It's
like
it's a mouthful.
it really is. It really is. I just want to jump into, I feel like the real mystery of the episode. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do we trust Leebeebee?
-47.
Okay.
Oh, she's weird, bro. Like, I didn't think it could get, I didn't think they could introduce more, awkward characters,
No.
but they managed to redefine the terms of awkward dialogue for a character, but, aside from all of the weirdness, I don't know,
There's something
haven't
off
we,
about Leebeebee.
isn't this a tale as old as time? Like, wrecked in the universe, come across somebody, and they claim to be either, shipwrecked or something, and then
Yeah,
they join up and then kill everybody.
yeah.
So, yeah, I have to wonder if she's like the handler for the dark sec
Ooh.
units, and she's
Yeah,
just wearing the uniforms from Deltfall.
yeah.
Because how did a mechanic or maintenance, why were they not in the building? Was she on some, maintenance expedition in the wild? Or
See,
because
that
it just
that
doesn't
doesn't
make
track.
sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't track because she said she's she's going back and talking about the incident because when she shows up, she was like, "Oh, that thing's gonna kill us, blah, blah, blah." And then they ask her later, "What happened with your group?" And she says, "Well, we had 3 sec units, and a rogue one comes in, kills 2, and then does something to the other one." So if
Right.
she was there to witness that
All of
happen,
that.
how did she get away?
Yeah, why did the rogue sec unit was just like, "You know what? Go ahead, girlie, you're fine."
You're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So if she was there, she witnesses anything, then she's in the woods, but, how long has this all how long ago did this happen?
Right.
Also, how long she been surviving alone in the wilderness,
Right.
avoiding, you know, the
Yes.
living areas? It doesn't make
Okay.
sense. There's something
Okay.
weird and wrong about her.
Let's look at the timeline for a moment because if she does manage to escape, run out into the woods,
Right.
it took the preservation team, we don't know how much time, but I'm imagining it's a considerable amount of time to get on the hopper, fly over. Before they flew over, we already knew everyone was dead. We had that cut scene where it like
Yeah.
flashed to everyone dead. Are we just to assume she's been out in the woods hiding for days, hours?
Well, this is also to assume that the dark sec unit came in and did all of these things within a very short time window from when they go to Deltfall, you
Right.
know?
And we
And then the sec unit was still there when they got
yeah.
there,
Yes.
which
Yes.
means she's literally would have had to have been out in the wilderness with nothing.
Right. And we saw the rogue sec unit, how like Terminator it was. It goes down, it's back up. It gets shot, it gets back up. If this rogue sec unit saw a survivor escape, it would go after it. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
all
mean,
that's how it's been
it would have
shown
had
so far.
I mean, that rogue sec unit probably would have at least known how many people were in Deltfall,
Yeah.
in that crew.
Yes.
And are we to believe that the rogue sec unit can do all of these things outside of count? Or that it would just be like, "You know what? 90% mission completion, that's fine, gotta go."
90%, we're good.
We're
Nothing to
good.
see here. We just let one get away, and that's
Yeah, I
it.
mean, I could have only done 80%, that kind of thing. I just don't she's weird, she's sus. I think she has nefarious intention.
Same. I also think what else did she say? I believe Mensa questions her when they decide we're gonna set off the emergency beacon. She's like, "What about you guys at Deltfall? Did you guys send off your emergency beacon?" And she's like, "I don't know." So if she saw this whole commotion go down, the attack happens, I feel like she would have known whether or not
Yeah.
they triggered an alarm or this, emergency beacon, so
Also, I would assume that she would have known that it was already busted.
right, right.
Or maybe she was out busting it.
Ooh, okay, okay, yeah,
I
yeah,
wish that we could get, like, a nailed down timeline for how, like, long it takes them to get over there. Because for some reason, I was thinking it was, like, enough time that they have to, like, take supplies with them. And then they say it's a whole ocean away.
right, right. I mean, that thing didn't okay, I guess we don't know exactly how fast it's capable of, but I'm assuming it can't be too much faster. I mean, it can't be super, super fast because it doesn't look like they have anything set up to where people need to really strap in and, like,
Yeah.
be prepared for, like, high force G travel, you know what I mean? Like, it seems pretty leisurely, not, like, slow, but they're not, like,
Well,
hitting a switch where it's, like, hyperdrive, you know?
I mean, I know that the show hasn't necessarily covered this, but
Mhm.
we are presumably in an atmosphere that humans can breathe, which means that there's probably, like, gravity and physics involved, and
Right.
so when you have, like, gravity and oxygen involved, they would yeah, the well, I just don't feel like we have enough information about the tech of the time, like, do they
Agreed.
have things that can change the internal atmospheres of ships while they travel at high G or, like, what? But either way also, like, Leebeebee doesn't seem capable of surviving in the wild, just saying.
Leebeebee is unhinged. Like, that whole, like
And
that thing
her views on using sec units as, uh, sex workers might I
girl,
don't know if that's worse than what they're already subjected to.
that's yeah, that's
That was a crazy thing to say, like
it was a lot. For one, like, I do understand they probably put it in because it's kind of funny, like, I'm sure there's a certain group of people who thought that was funny, but I have to assume that I'm hoping that they wanted to make some kind of statement about Murderbot and how insecure and awkward it feels about these types of conversations, so they kind of brought something like that in so that the audience would feel that same, like, cringe
oh, it was
that
cringy.
that we that Murderbot does, but I think I don't know, Murderbot, it it keeps it keeps coming back to these moments of eye contact and awkwardness
Why is
and
she getting so close to me?
right, right. I don't know, there's something up with Leebeebee. Leebeebee is sus.
Oh,
I
so sus.
and
Like,
then
put her in the brig.
yes, yes, exactly. Do they even have a brig? And she did
Probably
say
not.
no, probably not, and she did say something like, "Oh, yeah, like, Deltfall" what did she say? Deltfall calls them inexperienced or, like I don't remember what she said exactly, but
Amateurs.
amateurs, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, I think she's just pretending to be a Deltfall survivor, and also this is I mean, I guess I'm skipping way ahead here, but at the end of the episode, the hopper goes down with Murderbot and Mensa inside. And so, if the hopper crashes, if it's not capable of flying afterwards, and maybe the team can't get a hold of Mensa or Murderbot, what happens at the habitat when Leebeebee's running loose? Like, we know that Mensa
Well,
had kind of put Penlee in charge.
Yeah, and like I know like Pinley and Arata are very like, nurturing and things like that, but Leebeebee still has Gurathin there.
Right.
And he is suspect of everyone.
He is.
Like,
He is.
yeah, I don't see her getting away with because like, him and Murderbot can like watch the feeds and listen in,
Right.
and one of them is gonna catch on. Like,
I feel like next episode could be, and I'm just speculating here, not, this is not based on anything in the books. I'm just speculating that if something goes down at the preservation team's site, we're gonna have to see a major show of force from the remainders at this location having to put up a fight and deal with it, and, like,
yeah.
see how they do it. Like, are they made of stronger stuff? Can they manage to fight back and stay in control and organize without Mensa and without Murderbot?
And without being like overly naive.
Right. Right.
Because
Because,
it's,
like,
I think like there's some, obvious, like, they kinda trust everybody, and Murderbot points that out, like, "Well, I mean, you would just let somebody in." And I think that that actually also kinda works as, like, a foreshadow about
yeah.
Leebeebee when Mensa's like, "Yeah, we're a little naive," and he's like, "Yeah, and basically it'll get you killed."
When Murderbot said that, I was screaming inside. I was like, but you already put 2 and 2 together, now you have to bring up Leebeebee." Like, shouldn't they be like, "Oh, crap," like, radio in just in case, but
That was my question, like,
ah.
between Murderbot and Gurathin, one of them should have been able to get that Deltfall roster.
Right. Oh, right,
Yeah, like,
right.
somebody could get that Deltfall roster, especially, like, because 'cause they're both kind of, like, keyed in with the company. So, why not get the roster, see how many people were on it, check all the names, and then if you have to, just flat out ask the company about Leebeebee. Be like, "Did they bring maintenance with them?" That kinda thing.
Yeah, I think you know what? Maybe next episode is the time for Gurathan to shine. Maybe he will
Hopefully.
end up the unlikely hero here and putting everything together because I feel like if they're setting up some intrigue and mystery like this, he's a perfect shoe-in candidate
Yeah.
to really solve the mystery here with his tech skills. I don't know. And I would love that for him. Like, Gurathan, he's insufferable only because we're all on Murderbot's side. Like, we know Murderbot, he doesn't, and I kind of on one hand, I understand Gurathan being like, like, I don't trust this thing. I don't trust it." And I
But
mean
girl, like, to lead with, "Do you know how many thousands of hours of television Murderbots downloaded?" That's not how you lead, like, an accusation of nefarious behavior. Like, you don't start your case like, "Dear members of the jury, exhibit A." Like, soapy space dramas, like,
worst inquisition ever.
right. Yeah, it was literally the worst inquisition ever. And, like, all Gurathan did was actually just convince them that Murderbot's even better and more wholesome than they originally thought, because then they all find out he hasn't had a governor since before they picked him up, and
Right.
he's still been going, like, way above and beyond to protect them, like, far beyond what a governed sec unit would do.
Yeah.
And Gurathan's like, "Yeah, but the TV." The TV shows. Where does
That's
he even get the time? Well, he's multitasking. That's where he
right.
got the time.
Murderbot is like the ultimate gifted child. It's doing 30 things at once, and they're like, "There's
Yeah.
no way that Sec Unit could be doing all of that." And then we get the, I mean, I loved that little line of dialogue where where Rati kind of puts Murderbot to the test and ask gives him a prompt about this television show, and Murderbot is
Yeah.
like, "That's a lie. He was framed."
Oh, was it? Was not
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. I mean, that probably was maybe my favorite line of dialogue. I know I've seen that in some of the trailers and teasers, but
I really enjoyed that line of dialogue.
I know why they
Uh,
chose that.
yeah,
It was a good little moment.
it was, and I do like how Rati came to Murderbot's defense there.
Yeah, Seki.
Seki. I say we call Murderbot Seki from now on.
Yes, Sek
Seki.
I also thought it oh, Rati. I mean, this character, again, like, I know we covered it last week,
I
but
love this character.
same, he does so much heavy lifting for this show when you know, Rati comes off this near-death experience, and he's, like, shaken, and he goes to Penley, and he's like, like, I feel like if we have kids, we should name it Murderbot." And she's like, "What?" And the thing is Penley is saying, "What?" And Rati goes on to explain, like, why he thinks that it would be, like, honoring Murderbot, but Penley is saying, "What?" Like, the audacity of you bringing that up, like, to assume that we want to have a child with you, but Rati is not interpreting the "what" in the same way. It's just
Yeah. Oh,
good.
he's definitely, like, applying his perspective to having children coming off of, like, a near-death experience as a global perspective. Like,
Yeah.
everybody wants to do this.
Oh, I don't know. I've said it before, but Rati just he's got the golden retriever energy
Yeah,
where he's just
he's
like, you can't not love the guy. Mm. And the Seki comment and him he's kind of diffusing things in a way where, like, Gurathin is just so like, we can't trust it. And he's like, "No, no, no." Gives it a little test, everything works out okay. And I also really enjoyed the moment where Garathan is like, "We can't trust it. I've gone through its, data, etcetera. Bharadwaj, does she agrees with me fully." And she's like, "No, I don't." Absolutely not.
that was a really great part too,
Mhm.
was when she was like, no, I don't."
No. I'm curious about the ending because out of all of the episodes, I don't dislike this episode, but it feels like much more setup. And when these episodes are so short, it's kind of hard to really settle into it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Leebeebee is probably like the main aspect to the episode that I was interested in. And then more of like speculation. So, like, what happens after this hopper crash?
Well, I mean, like, the Leebeebee edition is kind of like the bulk of this episode. She has a number of awkward dialogues, like when she tries to kiss Murderbot and, you know, the original, like, there's several points where it's like, "Oh, girl, why'd you say that out loud?"
Right.
So, that addition really is kind of like the whole meat of the episode, and like you were talking about with the episodes being so short, like, it sometimes seems like as soon as, like, the episodes get going, it's like, "Cliffhanger done, bye, we'll see you next week."
Yeah. This this series, I think, is going to be very successful in the eyes of anyone who binges it. So if you wait until all 10 episodes are out, I think it's gonna be, like, a very smooth, like,
Yeah.
watch through. And I think those types of people who aren't watching week to week are going to love it. I still think the people who are watching week to week are going to enjoy it. I just think it's going to be a totally different viewing experience.
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting to watch it, like, all at once, plus, like, what's it gonna take, 4 hours?
Yeah, 4 and a
It's
half,
yeah, it's
maybe?
something that you could binge all in one sitting, but I do think, like you were saying, how if you watch it all at one time, it'll feel little less like cliffhangers because these, like, chapters of the story keep sequentially coming
Yeah,
versus how we're watching it where we watch a little bit of dialogue, then we have, like, an event, and then the episode's over.
yeah. It it feels it feels considerably shorter, I think, too, with the cliffhangers, because as soon as you, like, get settled and it's like, "And cut," and you're like, "Ah, okay, okay."
Yeah, especially when, like, a number of the episodes, including the opening credits, end credits, and whatever Apple TV Plus is previewing, are like
Mhm.
22 minutes altogether.
Yeah,
Whereas, like, a lot
exactly.
of, like 30-minute shows that come out, when you watch them, they're actually going to have like, 35, 38 minutes to account for all of these other aspects, but not this show.
No, no. That's I mean, I'm currently rewatching Ted Lasso, which I love, but I'm a viewer who wasn't watching Apple TV when it came out. And so I've only ever watched Ted Lasso when all of it was complete. And let me tell you, it is one of the most enjoyable experiences just flipping it on, maybe like a 30-minute episode and like just cruising through it. Like brilliant. Like it's great. It's great. I don't know if I would feel the same way about it if I was watching week to week where it was like, okay,
Yeah.
30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. But I don't know, like I'm also greedy.
I find it hard to wait. I'm impatient, and so, like, this whole week to week thing, this is like 20 years ago. Why didn't they just drop the whole season in one go? Like, just let me
Right.
watch it all at once.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know though, like there maybe I'm not like the target audience because I'm not typically someone who enjoys short form content as it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm much more, let me throw on a YouTube video or a podcast rather than like looking for something on TikTok where it's like bite size pieces of something. And I know that's not everyone. Like, there is a very large group of people where they just want the information, they want it quick, and they wanna, like, move on.
Yeah.
But I think with Murderbot, there's something very charming about it in the aspect where it's not like typical sci-fi, where, there are darker themes and tones, and there's still those elements to it, but the way that they've brought in some of this comedy, like, specifically, like, almost like the prop comedy, like Rati, like, hitting himself in the face, where it's
Yeah.
so incredibly slapstick, where it's just like it feels so different, and like I said, it's, like, charming and fun and
Yeah.
different, and so yeah.
I really enjoy that it's kind of like a mix of things. We've got sci-fi, and then, within that, like, overarching sci-fi, we have, drama, comedy, action. We have a lot of things going on, but the comedic elements, I think, is what really does it for me.
Yeah.
Like, because it's unlike a lot of sci-fi I've ever seen.
Yeah. I think even the awkwardness of it, I mean, there is that similar awkwardness to it in the books, but I feel like it's much drier overall because you don't have that kind of like screwball humor from the preservation team. And so while it is funny, it's not the same type of funny.
Yeah.
And I'm not like some, like I'm not some well-established viewer of comedy where I can tell you like, "Oh, like, the way this show does it is so much different from this show," etcetera. I'm not even a big comedy person. Like, I
Right.
enjoy certain things, but there's a very specific type of comedy that I feel like works for me and this is kind of hitting on that in a way where it doesn't feel cheesy.
Yeah, I would say
This
that, like, maybe comedy isn't, like, a top genre for me because I think I struggle to stay, like, sustained focus on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like, I need more undercurrents of, like, something serious
Yeah, I need something
woven
to think
through.
about.
Like, it can't just be like, "Ha ha," the whole time, or I just check out. Like, I don't know. I don't know, it's not for me, but I think with Murderbot, they're walking a fine line here. I think this episode might have been, and I'm not trying to hate on it at all, I think this one might have been the cheesiest episode we've gotten just because of, like,
Yeah, but it
the
was still funny. Like,
it was, like, it was goofy, and it was weird, and it was awkward, but it was, like, I don't know. I had a hard time where I was like, "Girl, don't what are you doing?
right,
Where are we going?"
when Leebeebee was trying to kiss Murderbot, I was like, "What are you doing?"
The
Uh,
way he's
and
just
then
standing there.
the the unreciprocated attempt, and then she went in for it again, and then she was like, "Oh, no, I'm too short," so just kinda, like, planted one, like, in this general area.
Yeah, it almost feels somewhat unscripted, like, some of those moments almost feel like improv in a way. I would really love after the show comes out, I would really love to know if some of these scenes were improvised by the actors and just, like, how far they kind of allowed something like that within the story, because it's not bad,
No.
it's just different, but I don't know, I don't know. Was there anything else that you really wanted to bring up?
No, which is, I know that like the last couple ones of these that we've done where we're covering Murderbot, we really kind of like get in there and dissect things, but there's not like actually a whole lot to dissect here. And I think we really covered that main piece, which is Libby's sus.
Yes,
And this feels kind of like a transitional episode. Like
agreed.
we've got like something in there that's, integral to the story, but we're kind of like in between major events.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I wanted to say before we wrap it up is if the hopper goes down, if it crashes, if it's not salvageable, does that mean Murderbot and Mensa have to go by foot back to the habitat? How long is that gonna take? So, I mean, like,
Ooh.
are we going to see a merging of the storylines where we get maybe 2 episodes of, like, habitat stuff and then, like, hoofing it through the wilderness and maybe some more, like, bonding between Mensa and Murderbot?
Ah, yeah, some real Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes, a fellowship.
A fellowship, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I think that could make sense because the books are very small, like, very short. So maybe, like, that would be a good setup for a little more, like, character work and stuff like that, but I don't know.
I hope so. I really hope that like Apple keeps this going too.
We've got a soft woo in the background.
He's like standing right outside of my reach.
He's
So
saying,
that
"Mother,
way
mother,
I
it's
can't
time.
stop him from a wooing. Come here.
Mother, it's time to wrap it up." I guess that's the signal. That's our emergency beacon.
I can't even do the come to mom.
All right. So if you're watching, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more of the Meanwhile Elsewhere podcast. Laura and I will be back every week to continue talking about Murderbot, and we will see you then.